CBSE Board, Class 9, History, Chapter 2, Part 13, Audio by Renee Matthew. Collectivization. We need to look more into collectivization. The leader after Lenin was Stalin, and he saw that when he asked the government to ensure that everybody gave the share of grains to the government through the fixed prices which was set by the government. The government had set up some price for the grains, and peasants were asked to sell the grains in this price. But we saw that many peasants did not agree to that, and they started hoarding the grains and not selling it. And this was found out by the government. So let's see more into collectivization, where we can see that they understood that speculation had to be stopped. That is, overthinking of this particular collectivization had to be stopped, and some action will have to be taken. And supplies were confiscated, because when they understood that people were not doing or obeying the order which was given by the government, they immediately understood that they had to take some measures. As a result of which, the government sent a party in 1928 to ensure that the grain producing areas, we saw that all the farmers had been collectively gathered, and all the lands were also gathered on top of that, and they made sure that these grain collections were supervised and that they were sold in the price which was suggested by the government. So they used force now. And the big farms which was maintained by the well-to-do peasants, that is, peasants who were slightly wealthier than the others. We saw that even in the peasants group there were divisions, and some of the peasants were richer than the others, and they also had farms. Those farms owned by the wealthier peasants were known as kulaks. Others were small farms. So remember this point. The bigger farms were known as kulaks, and the smaller ones were belonging to the other peasants. But still, in spite of that, shortage continued, and the government decided to enforce and stress on the collective farm policy. And it was also argued that the grain shortage which took place was partly because of the small farm. I told you just now that there were two types of farms, the big ones and the small ones. So the government said that the grain shortage still happened, and they did not agree to the point that the peasants were asked to sell the grain at a price which the government had fixed, and that was only bringing profit to the government. They argued, that is why it is given as argument. They argued that this shortage was not able to be met because of the small size holdings. And after 1917, what the government did was, land had been given over to peasants. We saw that after the 1917 revolution, they asked all the peasants to take over the land. Do you remember that point? Then so many things happened. The Civil War also happened. And these small-sized farms, like big-sized farms, was fine. It was very difficult to develop the modern techniques of farming in small-sized farms. Modern techniques means industrial kind of modernized equipments had to be used, and they will have to be taken to a larger scale production. That was not possible in small-sized farms. And it was very difficult to convert these farms into modernized farms. And as a result of that, they decided to eliminate even the kulaks, that is the bigger farms. Okay, so what they did was, it's not that they eliminated the biggest farm and just kept quiet. What they did is, they took away the land from all the peasants and then established state-controlled larger farms. That is, they brought all the farms together, even the small farms, the big farms, everything was brought together so that there won't be any more problems as such. So what happened after that was Stalin's collectivization program. What is this collectivization program? And after that we saw just now, what is collective program? And you need to know what is collectivization. The definition is given in the previous audio. Please listen to that again and again and get the key terms correct. And from 1929, that is immediately after Stalin's collectivization program, what happened? the party forced all the peasants to cultivate in collective farms. Just now we saw that the small farms and everything was taken over by the state. After that, the party, that is the Bolsheviks, they forced the government, the peasants to cultivate everything on collective farms. And what is the name of the collective farm? Kolkhoz. And the bulk of land and implements, which is both the land and the tools, everything was transferred to the ownership of collective farms. So everything was owned as a collective property. Even if you buy, when you have a land, you are responsible for it, for the nurturing, for the manuring and the produce that you get out of the land. So it is like suddenly everything was taken over by the government and ownership was collective. Like I told you just now in the previous audio that 70 families were there, which consisted of maybe 100 people. Yeah. And also peasants worked on the land, and kolkhoz profit was shared, collective. Just now we saw what is collective farming. And as a result of all these things, what happened is that the peasants got really angry. They got very angry and they started being aggressive to the authorities and they destroyed their livestock. They went and looted their land, the government's land, and they started getting aggressive to it. And between 1929 and 1931, the number of cattle fell by 1/3. So many animals were there, cattle fell by 1/3 when, after 1929, when the peasants went and started getting aggressive towards the livestock, especially the animals. And those people who resisted collectivization were severely punished. They were deported. Deported means ask them to just get out of the country, go away somewhere, and exiled. And because of their resistance to collectivization. And then the peasants argued saying that we are not rich and we are not against socialism. This is a very powerful point. Peasants argued that they were not rich and they were not against socialism. They were trying to convince the government saying that we are not against socialism, but we are against the measures that you're taking now. It is wrong. Collectivization is not proving any profit. It is not giving us any profit. And they merely did not want to work in collective farms for many reasons. Okay, they did not prefer to work in this collective farm. Now, Stalin's government allowed some independent cultivation because of all these uprisings. In the previous slide, we saw the uprising and all the peasants were enraged. So Stalin's government said, okay, now you can do some independent cultivation. Fine. It's like when a small children shows a lot of tantrum, or when there is a big group which comes up with uprising. Because you're fed up, you will say, okay, fine, you do it. So now Stalin allowed these people to do some independent cultivation, but they were treated with unsympathy. They were not treated properly because they took their own decisions. Okay, so it is like you're allowing something and then you're not allowing something. And in spite of this collectivization, that is on one hand where they resisted. Now this side, when you look at the other hand, collectivization did not improve the produce. It did not bring about any profit also. So it was a failure actually. It was a partial failure. In fact, what happened? There was bad harvest. There were bad harvests between 1930 and 1933, and that led to one of most devastating famines in Soviet history. So till then they never had any famine. Now it is like after having this collective farming and everything, they got famine and it was very difficult to overcome. Already the price of the bread was hiked and they were already into winter season, which was very difficult. Nothing could be done now. And during this famine, 4 million people died. And these posters, there are more posters in the internet which were made during this particular time, during the bad harvest. Here you can see that a farmer is pushed to do collectivization, and look at the powerful image used here. And this was also made during the famine, during that 1930 famine. And many people started criticizing this Bolshevik party. Even people inside the Bolshevik party, people within the party also started criticizing because they were all confused and they were not happy with the industrial production under the planned economy. Now, after doing so much of planned, it is going topsy-turvy. And the consequence of collectivization was really bad. And Stalin and his sympathizers charged these critics with conspiracy against socialism. So just now we saw in the previous slide that the peasants said, we are not rich, we agreed that, but we were not against socialism. But what did Stalin do? Stalin said that you all were fighting against socialism, but that was not the truth. They were against the measures which were taken by Stalin, which was not proving any or giving any profit to them. So that was the most important part. Now there were a lot of accusations made throughout the country, and by 1939 more than 2 million people were in prisons and camps because they simply resisted collectivization, and many of the innocents suffered. Many innocent people were made to take responsibility of the crimes that they never did. Did you understand? People who did not do crimes were arrested, but nobody spoke for them. There was no justice anywhere. A large number were forced to make false confessions. They had to agree to wrong crimes under torture and were executed very badly. They were tortured. 2 pictures are taken from the file photo, and several among them were talented professionals. So many people were talented. So many people were skilled, but they were treated very badly. They were massacred. They were brutally treated, and they were tortured, and they were asked to make false confessions. So all these things took place. Now we have a letter which is written by a peasant who did not want to join the collective farm, and it was written to the newspaper. The name of the newspaper is in the Russian language, and you need to see that. The name of the newspaper is Krastyanskaya Gazeta, which is a peasant newspaper, and all the peasants were allowed to write into it. And he's writing, please listen to this carefully. I am a natural working peasant born in 1879, and there are so many members in my family. My wife was born in 1881. My son is only 16, so he's giving all the details of his family. And all the 3 children go to school. My sister is 71, and he's supporting the whole family. It's a very big family. From 1932, heavy taxes has been levied on me that I have found impossible. It was very difficult for him to pay the taxes. From 1935, local authorities have increased the taxes on me, and I was unable to handle them, and all my property was registered. It is like all the property was taken off the peasants. We saw that, right? My horse, my cow, and all the animals, including the implements and the furniture. And my reserve of wood, everything which is so costly was taken, which was for the repair of buildings, and they sold the lot for the taxes. So everything was taken away. In 1936, they sold 2 of my buildings. The coal hawks bought them. In 1937, of 2 huts I had, 1 was sold and 1 was confiscated. This is the condition of the peasant. Though they were rich, they were not able to handle it at all. So imagine the condition of the poor peasant. If the condition of the wealthy peasant is like this, poor peasant will be horrible. And this is the source which is taken, from which it is taken, and it was written to a newspaper which was exclusively for the peasants.